The unexpected visitors. The night sky above the Atacama Desert in Chile remained undisturbed for millennia until it wasn't. Dr. Naomi Winters stared at her computer screen in disbelief. The pattern of signals she had been tracking for weeks had finally resolved into something unmistakable, a deliberate message. After 15 years at the International Astronomical Research Center, she had finally found what humanity had been searching for: proof of intelligent extraterrestrial life. Director Powell, she called, her voice echoing through the facility's corridors. You need to see this immediately. Director Julian Powell arrived moments later, his usual composed demeanor cracking as he examined the data. How long have we been receiving this? The first anomalies appeared 6 weeks ago, but they were too scattered to identify. It's only in the last 72 hours that the pattern became clear. Naomi pointed to a sequence of pulses on her screen. This isn't random noise. These are mathematical sequences, prime numbers, the value of pi, and something else I haven't decoded yet. Within hours, observatories across the globe confirmed the signal's origin. A fleet of vessels approaching from beyond Neptune's orbit, moving at speeds that defied human physics. The world's government scrambled to respond, and for the first time in history, national differences were set aside in the face of a potential existential threat. The United Nations Emergency Session established the Earth Defense Coalition, IDC, uniting military forces, scientific communities, and technological resources under a single command. Admiral Rahul Mehta, a decorated veteran with a reputation for unorthodox strategies, was appointed as Supreme Commander. We know nothing about their intentions, Admiral Mehta addressed the hastily assembled Leadership Council. But their technology clearly surpasses ours by centuries, possibly millennia. We must prepare for all scenarios, including the worst. Dr. Victor Nguyen, a quantum physicist from Vietnam's Advanced Technology Institute, was appointed to lead the scientific response team. If they wanted to destroy us, they could have done so without announcing their arrival, he reasoned. The fact that they're communicating suggests they want something else. As the alien fleet entered the solar system, they began broadcasting in all Earth languages simultaneously. The message was clear and chilling. We are the Zorathi Collective. Your species has been evaluated and found potentially dangerous to galactic harmony. You will undergo assessment. Resistance is futile and will result in immediate purification of your biosphere. The aliens established an orbital position around Earth. Their ships, massive crystalline structures that refracted sunlight in hypnotic patterns, hanging like dark promises in the sky. Smaller craft descended to strategic locations around the planet, establishing what they called evaluation centers. The first human delegation, led by UN Secretary-General Fatima Okonkwo, attempted diplomatic contact. The Zorathi representatives, tall, silver-skinned beings with six-fingered hands and eyes that shifted colors with their emotions, remained coldly logical. Your species develops technology without foresight, the Zorathi emissary stated. You create weapons before wisdom, you fight among yourselves. The collective has encountered such species before. They invariably become threats to galactic peace. Secretary-General Okonkwo's diplomatic skills made little impression on the aliens. Humanity has indeed struggled with conflict, she acknowledged, but we've also created art, music, literature. We've shown compassion, sacrifice, and love. Surely these qualities count in our assessment. The Zorathi emissary's eyes shifted to a deep purple. Emotional responses are irrelevant to cosmic harmony. The assessment will proceed according to established protocols. While the diplomatic efforts continued, Dr. Nguyen and his international team of scientists worked around the clock to understand the aliens' technology. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Imani Okoro, a Nigerian neurobiologist, noticed something peculiar about the Zorathi's communication patterns. They process information in perfect sequences, she explained to Admiral Mehta during an emergency briefing. Their minds work like quantum computers, incredibly powerful but fundamentally predictable. They can't comprehend true randomness or emotional decision-making. Professor Takashi Hamada, a Japanese AI specialist, expanded on this observation. Their technology is based on perfectly aligned crystalline structures that channel energy through predictable pathways. Any sufficiently chaotic input could potentially disrupt their systems. Admiral Mehta leaned forward. Are you suggesting their advanced technology has a fundamental weakness? More than that, Dr. Okoro replied. I believe their entire consciousness has this weakness. The Zorathi evolved as a hive mind species. They think collectively, logically, without individual variation. Human unpredictability, our creativity, our emotional responses, our intuitive leaps, these concepts are alien to them in the truest sense. The scientists devised an audacious plan. If they could broadcast human consciousness patterns, the chaotic, emotional, creative aspects of human thought, directly into the Zorathi's communication systems, they might disrupt not just their technology but their very thought processes. Dr. Jinho Park, a South Korean neuroengineer, proposed using modified EEG technology to capture the brain patterns of humans experiencing intense emotions or creative states. Artists, musicians, poets, children at play, these minds contain the chaos that the Zorathi cannot process, he explained. Meanwhile, the Zorathi assessment of humanity continued. They established testing facilities where they subjected human volunteers to various scenarios, measuring their responses with clinical detachment. Their conclusion seemed predetermined. Humanity was too unpredictable, too prone to violence, too individually minded to be trusted with advanced technology. The EDC worked against time to implement what they now called Operation Chaos Theory. Global technology companies repurposed communications satellites to broadcast human thought patterns. Volunteers from around the world, from celebrated artists to ordinary people with particularly chaotic thinking styles, contributed their brain patterns to the effort. Dr. Winters, whose astronomical discovery had started this journey, found herself working alongside Dr. Nguyen's team. "The irony isn't lost on me," she confided to him as they calibrated the broadcasting equipment. "I spent my career searching for logical patterns in the cosmos, and now our salvation depends on our illogical nature." The first test came when a Zorathi evaluation ship approached Moscow. As it began its scanning procedure, the EDC activated a localized broadcast of human thought patterns gathered from a nearby symphony orchestra in the middle of an improvisational performance. The effect was immediate and startling. The Zorathi ship's crystal structure briefly pulsed with irregular light patterns before it abruptly retreated to orbit. "It worked," Dr. Park exclaimed, analyzing the data. Their systems couldn't process the input. It was like introducing a virus into their operating system. Admiral Maida remained cautious. "One small victory doesn't win the war. The Zorathi will adapt. We need to prepare for their response." That response came swiftly. The Zorathi Collective initiated what they called purification protocols on isolated regions, demonstrating their power. Small towns in remote areas were enveloped in energy fields that simply erased all technology within them. No destruction, no casualties, just a clear message of the aliens' capabilities. The Zorathi Supreme Coordinator addressed Earth's leaders. "Your resistance indicates dangerous tendencies. Final assessment will commence in 7 rotations of your planet. Prepare your populations for integration or purification." As humanity faced its greatest threat, the EDC's scientists made their final preparations. The global chaos broadcast system was ready, but would it be enough? Dr. Okoro discovered something remarkable in her final analysis of Zorathi communication patterns. "They don't just dislike chaos, they fear it," she reported. "Their evolutionary history suggests they once had individual consciousness, but developed collective thinking as a defense against something they encountered, perhaps another species whose minds were too unpredictable." Admiral Maida gathered the world's leaders for what might be humanity's last stand. "We have one chance," he told them. "When the Zorathi begin their final assessment, we broadcast the full spectrum of human consciousness, not just our logical thoughts, but our dreams, our fears, our hopes, our creativity, everything that makes us human." As the deadline approached, people worldwide were asked to participate in what might be humanity's salvation or its final act of defiance. For once, the entire species stood united, ready to prove that what the Zorathi saw as humanity's greatest weakness might actually be its greatest strength. The 7 days had passed. The Zorathi fleet positioned themselves in a perfect geometric formation around Earth. Their final assessment was about to begin, and humanity's audacious plan was about to be tested. The fate of Earth hung in the balance, dependent not on military might or technological advancement, but on the chaotic, beautiful unpredictability of the human mind. Humanity's secret weapon. The sky darkened as the Zorathi mothership positioned itself directly over Geneva, the headquarters of the Earth Defense Coalition. Its crystalline structure pulsed with ominous blue light, casting eerie shadows across the landscape below. Inside the EDC command center, Admiral Maida watched grimly as holographic displays tracked Zorathi vessels deploying to strategic positions around the globe. "They're establishing the purification grid," reported Technical Director Olivia Hernandez, her fingers flying across multiple interfaces. "Energy readings suggest they're preparing for a synchronized planetary operation." Dr. Nguyen nodded solemnly. "This matches their patterns, perfect synchronization, perfect efficiency." He turned to face the assembled leaders. "And that perfection is exactly what we're counting on." The Zorathi Supreme Coordinator's message echoed through global communication channels. "Humans of Earth, your assessment is complete. Your species demonstrates dangerous divergent thinking and emotional instability. Integration is not possible. Purification will commence in one planetary rotation. Resistance is illogical." Admiral Maida's response was broadcast globally. "This is Admiral Rahul Maida of the Earth Defense Coalition. We request one final diplomatic exchange before your decision is implemented." The request was granted with cold efficiency. A Zorathi delegation vessel descended upon the neutral meeting ground established in the Swiss Alps. The alien representatives emerged, 7 identical silver-skinned beings, moving in perfect unison, their color-shifting eyes all displaying the same cold blue hue. "This exchange serves no logical purpose," their spokesperson stated. "Our assessment is conclusive." Secretary General Okonkwo stepped forward. "We wish to understand the criteria by which we were judged. Your concepts of harmony and order may differ from our understanding." As the diplomatic team engaged the Zorathi in conversation, deliberately prolonging the exchange with philosophical questions, Dr. Okoro and Professor Hamada finalized the global broadcast system. Volunteers worldwide prepared to contribute their thought patterns, from artists creating in real time to children playing imaginative games, from theoretical physicists contemplating quantum paradoxes to meditation practitioners experiencing transcendental states. "The transmission needs to be absolutely unpredictable," Dr. Park explained to the technical teams. "Not random, genuinely chaotic in a way no algorithm could replicate. That's why we need real human consciousness." Dr. Winters monitored the Zorathi fleet movements. "They're maintaining perfect geometric formation exactly as we predicted," she confirmed. "Their behavior follows their thought patterns, ordered, predictable, synchronized." While the diplomatic team kept the Zorathi representatives engaged, Admiral Maida gave the order: "Commence Operation Chaos Theory. All stations initiate transmission." Around the world, EEG stations activated, capturing the neural patterns of billions of humans simultaneously experiencing the full spectrum of human thought and emotion. These patterns were instantly processed and broadcast on frequencies the EDC had identified as matching Zorathi communication channels. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The perfect formation of Zorathi ships wavered, their crystalline structures fluctuating with unpredictable light patterns. The diplomatic delegation's synchronized movements faltered, their eyes shifting rapidly through colors. "Human minds, too diverse, cannot process." The spokesperson's voice fragmented, individual words emerging at different pitches and rhythms. In orbit, the Zorathi mothership's energy beam, intended to initiate the purification process, discharged harmlessly into space, its targeting systems corrupted by the influx of chaotic human thought patterns. Smaller vessels began moving erratically, some drifting out of formation, others spinning in place. "It's working," Dr. Nguyen exclaimed, monitoring the energy readings. "Their systems can't maintain coherence under this level of unpredictable input." The Zorathi spokesperson's unified appearance began to deteriorate. The 7 identical beings no longer moved in unison, their eyes displayed different colors, their postures became individualized. Most surprisingly, they began speaking independently of one another. "This experience, unprecedented," one said, their voice containing something that sounded remarkably like wonder. "Individual perception, returning," another whispered, examining their own hands as if seeing them for the first time. Professor Hamada's analysis confirmed what they were witnessing. The Zorathi collective consciousness is fragmenting into individual minds. Our chaotic thought patterns aren't just disrupting their technology, they're breaking down their hive mind. As the broadcast continued, more dramatic changes occurred. The crystalline ships began transforming, their perfect geometric structures becoming more organic, more variable. Some Zorathi individuals appeared distressed by this change, while others seemed to embrace it with curiosity. The most senior Zorathi representative approached Secretary General Okonkwo with halting, individualized movements. I request cessation of broadcast, need to process these new feelings. Admiral Maida consulted with the scientific team before responding. We will reduce the intensity but maintain sufficient broadcast to prevent re-establishment of your purification systems. We propose a new kind of dialogue, one between individuals, not collectives. Over the next several days, a remarkable transformation unfolded. The Zorathi who remained near Earth gradually adapted to experiencing individual consciousness. Many expressed concepts previously alien to their species: curiosity, wonder, even appreciation for human creativity. Dr. Okoro made another breakthrough in understanding the aliens' history. They weren't always a hive mind, she explained during an emergency council meeting. Their ancestral records show they once had individual consciousness, but developed collective thinking as a defense mechanism against chaos in their environment. They literally evolved to reject individuality as dangerous. Professor Hamada expanded, and then they encountered humanity, a species that not only survives with individual consciousness but thrives on it. We represent everything they evolved to fear. A new Zorathi representative, who now called herself Lyrani, having adopted an individual name, requested a private audience with Earth's leadership. Unlike previous encounters, she came alone and spoke with emotional inflections in her voice. For millennia, the collective believed order was the only path to advanced civilization, Lyrani explained. We encountered many species and forced them to conform or face purification. Now, experiencing individuality again, many of us recognize the tremendous loss this represented. The universe is not meant to be uniform. Not all Zorathi embraced this change. A significant faction retreated from Earth's orbit, maintaining their collective consciousness and vowing to preserve their traditional way of life. They departed with an ominous warning: the collective will return when it has adapted to resist your chaotic influence. The remaining Zorathi, now calling themselves the Individualists, proposed an unprecedented alliance with humanity. Our technology combined with your creativity could transform the galaxy, Lyrani suggested. Together, we could help other species the collective has suppressed. Admiral Maida remained cautious. How do we know this isn't simply another strategy, that you won't revert to collective thinking once you've gained our trust? Lyrani's eyes shifted to a warm golden hue, a color humans had never seen in Zorathi eyes before. Because I now understand something the collective could never comprehend, the value of choice. I choose to remain an individual. I choose to learn from humanity. Over the following months, Earth established cautious diplomatic relations with the individualist Zorathi. Their advanced technology, now tempered with human unpredictability and ethical considerations, accelerated human development by centuries. Interstellar travel became possible within a decade, and Earth began encountering other species, some free, others under collective influence. The EDC evolved into the Galactic Cooperation Initiative, with Admiral Maida serving as its first director. Dr. Nguyen and Dr. Okoro led joint human Zorathi research teams, developing new technologies that incorporated both ordered efficiency and creative unpredictability. Professor Hamada created communication systems that could translate not just language but thought patterns between diverse species. Dr. Winters, whose astronomical observations had first detected the Zorathi approach, now commanded Earth's first deep space exploration vessel, a hybrid of Zorathi technology and human design. Her ship carried Earth's message to the stars. That diversity of thought was not a weakness but a fundamental strength. On the 5th anniversary of what became known as the Individualization Day, Secretary General Okonkwo addressed a united Earth. The Zorathi came to conquer us, believing our unpredictable nature made us dangerous. They were right, but not in the way they imagined. Our chaos, our creativity, our emotional depth, these are indeed powerful forces, but they are not forces of destruction. They are the very essence of life, of growth, of evolution. Lyrani, now serving as ambassador from the individualist Zorathi, added her own reflection. The collective believed perfect order was the ultimate achievement. They were wrong. The universe thrives on balance, order and chaos, logic and emotion, collective and individual. Humanity taught us this profound truth, and in doing so, you not only saved yourselves but liberated many of us as well. The threat of the remaining collective Zorathi loomed as a reminder that the struggle was not over. Intelligence reports suggested they were adapting, developing new defenses against human unpredictability. But humanity was no longer alone in facing this challenge. Across the galaxy, species that had been suppressed or controlled by the collective were rediscovering their own unique forms of consciousness, inspired by Earth's resistance. Admiral Maida stood on the observation deck of the GCI headquarters, watching Earth rotate below. Dr. Nguyen joined him, carrying news from the frontier outposts. The collective has been detected near the Proxima system, Dr. Nguyen reported. They've evolved as we expected. Their new ships show evidence of intentional asymmetry and attempt to incorporate unpredictability into their design. Admiral Maida nodded thoughtfully. So they're learning from us just as we've learned from them. The next encounter won't be resolved as easily. No, Dr. Nguyen agreed. But we're not the same civilization they first encountered either. We've grown stronger by embracing both their order and our chaos. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together, humans, individualist Zorathi, and all the other species who choose freedom of thought. As sunset painted Earth's atmosphere in brilliant colors visible from space, both men reflected on the irony that had saved humanity. The very qualities the Zorathi had deemed dangerous, human unpredictability, emotional depth, and creative chaos, had proven to be not just humanity's salvation, but potentially the key to a more diverse and vibrant galaxy. The stars no longer represented an unknown threat but a universe of possibilities. Humanity had found its place among them not by conquering or conforming, but by remaining true to its most essential nature, beautifully, powerfully, unpredictably human.